I'm Kayla, the BookTube Turtle, and today I am talking about my favorite books and TV shows of 2019. Honestly, it was kind of a disappointing year for reading. I did not read as much as I usually do, because I usually do like a top 10 list and it's like hard to narrow it down. I had trouble picking 5, so I think I ended up with 4 books. And it was like the TV shows that I watched so many TV shows this year that I was just like, how do I figure out what to put on this list? Yeah. So we're gonna start with the TV shows. In 5th place is Stranger Things. Season 3 came out this year. And honestly, season 3 was kind of my least favorite of the 3 seasons. I don't know if that's like an unpopular opinion or like what other people thought about it. I don't know, but I just still loved the first 2 seasons more. Like I enjoyed it. I had so much fun watching it. I watched it all in like one sitting, which was an experience, and then I watched it again with my family and then with my roommate. I don't know. Season 2 is still my favorite. Number 4 is Atypical. This is a Netflix show that has 3 seasons. I watched the first 2 seasons earlier in the year, and then season 3 like recently came out and I watched that. It's about a boy in high school who is on the autism spectrum, and it was really interesting. It was really funny. The cast did like such a great job. It's such a good show, and it was so easy to watch too, to just sit there and just watch it so fast because the episodes are like 30 minutes or something. So, number 3 is Parenthood. I watched this with my mom. It pretty much took us like the whole second half of the year because when we watch stuff together, we really only do that on the weekends because I'm at home instead of at school, since I like live at an apartment at school. But yeah, it was really good. We're actually like probably gonna finish it tonight. We have like 3 or 4 episodes left, so it's kind of sad because I feel like it's something we've been watching for so long. But yeah, it's really good. It's really funny. Number 2 on my list is The Fosters. I don't know why I started watching this. Kind of did, and I like just got really attached to it. I watched it like at the beginning of my summer break, and there's like 5 seasons, and I watched all of it in like 2 weeks, and then when I was done I immediately started over. I like have some kind of problem with rewatching things, I have learned. I mean, I used to do that with books all the time too, like considering that I read Harry Potter. That's all I read in middle school was Harry Potter, just over and over and over again. And I'm actually in the middle of watching it for the 3rd time right now. Yeah, but it's about, if you don't know, it's about a 16-year-old girl and her little brother who are in foster care, and they get placed with this family. Stuff happens. I'm so great at describing things, but yeah, it's really good. And my number 1 TV show of the year. My number 1 TV show of the year is Glee. There's a lot of like backstory to this. We're not gonna talk about that, but I didn't think I was gonna like it because I was just like, this seems like not the kind of thing I would like, and then here we are. Number 1 on the list. Oh my god, it's kind of an older show, and by older I mean like it was like on TV from like 2009 to 2015. I don't even know, there was just like something about it that like really, I got so attached. I'm still attached. It's really funny. It's such a funny show, but it also like deals with like really serious stuff, and it's just so easy to watch because when I watched it, it was like these past few months when I was like going through everything, and so it was just really nice to have something to like be super obsessed with because it just like helped me get through everything else. And I think maybe that's why I'm just like so attached to it as a show. But yeah, those are my top 5 shows of the year. I watched a lot more, but those were the ones that like stood out to me the most. Yeah. Now for my top top four books of the year. I don't even know how many books I read this year because I stopped keeping track back in like July, and I don't know, not that I read a whole lot after July. I barely read anything after July, actually. It's been a year. First, I'm going to start with the honorable mention, which is Eliza and Her Monsters. This is my #1 favorite book ever. I love it so much. I'm not including it on the list because it was a reread this year. I read it for the first time last year. It was #1 on my list last year. I read it twice this year. I would read it a third time, but my roommate has it right now because she's reading it over break because we like switched books with each other. So as soon as I get it back, I'm reading it again because I'm really excited. Okay, on to the countdown. So these were the ones that stood out the most to me because I did read a lot of books, but these were the ones that like kind of stuck with me, I guess, because even earlier in the year I was reading stuff, but it was just, I don't know, I've just been in a giant reading slump apparently. So #4 is Fruits Basket. This is the first ever like manga book / series that I read. I'm not done with it yet, but I don't know, it was just like really cool because I'd never done that before. So it was a really interesting experience to get to read those, and there's kind of like a learning process to it. So that was cool. I actually watched the anime beforehand, and my roommate was like, you should read the books. So we got them from the library, and during our finals week, when we didn't have any class, we were just like taking tests every now and then. When we were both back at the apartment, we would just like sit and read, and it was a great time. #3 is Defy Me by Tahereh Mafi. This is the 5th book in the Shatter Me series. It is so good. I read this book so fast, like one day, probably like 1 or 2 sittings of like, I just read the entire thing like straight through. It was a good time. I flew through it. It was so good. I really want to read it again before the final book comes out sometime in 2020. I don't really know. I haven't been keeping up with things, so I don't know what's going on. #2 is Radio Silence. This book was so good. I loved this book. I read it twice this year. The first time was for a readathon in February, Valentine's. I actually did it as a buddy read, which was really cool. It was the first time I ever like buddy read with somebody, and we would like message back and forth while we were reading. It was a really cool experience. And I reread it again like a week ago. I don't really know how to explain it or what it's about. I'm bad at that. I'm bad at explaining things. It's like about this girl who's like really focused on school and everything, and there's like this podcast story thing that she's like really like obsessed with and she loves, and she meets the boy who runs the podcast, and he's got his own set of issues and things happen. It's one of the few books that has like an ace character, which made it like really exciting for me to read that second time, which I actually kind of had forgotten about that until I started reading it. I was like, wait a second, I don't remember who it is, but somebody in this book is. And yeah, so that was like really exciting because like it didn't mean as much to me the first time I read it because I didn't know about myself yet. And my #1 favorite book of the year, this one was not a problem. I knew that this was gonna be my #1 since I don't even know when, I just kind of knew. So yeah, my #1 book for the year is Autobiography by Christina Lauren. I read this book 4 times this year. Four times. So yeah, it's #1. I read it in April, and it took me like 2 days. And then as soon as I was done, I think I spent like a week, and then I immediately read it again. And then I read it in October, and I read it again like a couple weeks ago. So yeah, it's so good. It's so good. And I honestly just kind of want to read it again like right now, and I need to chill. Again, I have problems with like rewatching and rereading things, and there's so many other things that I haven't read or watched at all that I should be doing, and I just, it doesn't happen. It was so good. It was funny and heartbreaking and beautiful. It was good. I feel like, per usual, that's just me in these kinds of videos. I'm just like, it was so good. Those are my top books and top TV shows for 2019. Let me know what some of your favorite books and TV shows for the year were in the comments below. And yeah, I'm hoping that 2020 will be a better reading year. And I'm excited to get back into it. I like feel excited to read again. I haven't felt that in a long time. Thank you so much for watching.